All right, so today I want to talk about this story at a True North, and it's from Candace Malcolm here, and she says government lockdowns led to a dramatic spike in the price of food. Again, they report 4%. That's what their number is, and again, depending on what it was, I mean, some things were more than others. I mean, you look at the cost of like ground beef and like that kind of stuff. That was way more, right? Like it's gone maybe not way more, but it's gone up pretty significantly. In fact, I don't think I've, over the last, what, 4 or 5, I guess 4 years, 5 years, I guess, since I've been out, I've hardly heard people mention this, but over the last 6 months or so, I hear from people all the time now about how, oh, they've noticed how the price of food's gone up. Now, if you track the amount of money you're spending and you buy, relatively the same amount of stuff all the time, then you'll be able to have a pretty good idea of the cost of food. And just like I say, just over this last amount of time, it has gone way up. Now, I think there's many reasons for that. Number one, I mean, a lot of these plants got shut down, which obviously led to a undersupply, which is going to make the price go up, right? That's just basic economics. But I also think there's other things too, like now there's going to be more rules and regulations for a lot of these companies to follow when it comes to this whole virus situation, which is going to drive the cost of food up, right? Because when you look at a lot of these companies, like I always mention too, and again, this is another thing that the left always gets wrong, is that a lot of these companies and businesses, they're not running massive margins. Like they're margin. A lot of these places margins are very thin actually, and that if they lose just a little bit, then they're gonna start losing money, right? Like it's not like these it's like a vaccine company where they're making 300-400%, per shot. No, a lot of these businesses it's like 5-10%. Like they're barely above what they're into it for, right? So this idea that they're um, these the Walmarts. I mean, Walmart's a little different, but the more mom and pop places, like they're not making a ton of money. And that's the other big thing too, is that you have one of the big things I hear in the news a lot now is, oh, the rich have gotten so much richer over this whole pandemic situation. Well, what the hell did you think was going to happen? You closed down all the mom and pop shops and you kept Walmart and Superstore open, and because again all the so many retail places were closed, well, sure enough, Amazon's business picks way up. But what did you expect? Like seriously, like these people are so stupid. It's not even funny. You support a policy that anybody with half a brain would be able to figure out is going to make the rich richer, and then you're shocked and appalled. Oh, the rich have gotten so much richer because of a policy I supported. Like how stupid can people possibly be these days? Like again, like just when you think they can't get any dumber, they get dumber. And that's the big problem too. And the same stuff comes with this whole food thing. What does the average person hear when they hear this kind of stuff? It's, oh, the greedy corporations. We need to have government have more regulations. Which again, then anybody that runs a business, or at least most people, know that the more rules and regulations you have to follow, the more of a hassle work's going to be. You're gonna hate your job that much more. And number two, it's going to cost more money because it can. A lot of these people aren't going to be like, oh, the government just, made it so I have to work an extra hour or two a week, or, I have to spend more time doing paperwork, or I have to hire an extra person or two or three, depending on how big your business is, because they got more stupid regulations to follow. And they're like, oh, I'll just take that hit. I'm barely getting by as is, but I'm just going to take that hit. Like, no one's going to do that. Again, it's just pure and utter insanity. Like again, like these people that again, they're the same people that they want these massive regulations. They want new regulations, and again, when it comes to regulations, they disproportionately hurt small to medium sized businesses, because when it comes to Walmart or Superstore, regulations aren't going to hurt them nearly as much. Like, number one, because they're probably better at finding ways around said regulations, and number two, even if it does hurt them a little bit, it's probably going to hurt their competition even more, because they're a lot more well established company than the local mom and pop grocery store, right? So, again, like, I just cannot stand the ignorance of some people these days. It's so astounding. It's not even funny. Like, you support a policy that leads to a problem that you complain about. How do you not notice that? Like, seriously, how do you not notice that? again, and when it comes to like now that I've gotten that out of the way, when it comes to the price of food, well, what needs to be done to get the price of food down, or at the very least not outrageously high? Um, Regulations need to be brought back. I mean, this whole, all these new regulations from the virus situation, the vast majority of them are pointless. I mean, you look at all the extra cleaner and cleaning they need to be done. How much is that costing these businesses? I mean, that's not cheap. Not to mention too, what about all the providers of all the food and the goods? Like, obviously that's costing them. So that's the first thing that needs to be done. I mean, things like the carbon tax need to be gotten rid of, because that's just a tax on the consumer. And again, people say, oh, you get your money back. No, you really don't get your money back. Like, you really, I mean, it's the same stuff with the Green New Deal, like what Biden said. Oh, the Green New Deal would pay for itself, but I still don't support it, right? Because obviously it wouldn't pay for itself. Again, so this is just the insanity of the modern times, I guess. And again, when it comes to food prices too, the big problem is, um, most people support the policies that are making food more expensive. I mean, you have all these largely people on the left. They're, especially like the lower income people. They're very susceptible to propaganda. They don't have very good critical thinking skills. And whenever they see something like this, oh, it's the government has to have more regulations, right? Like, but no, that's only going to make food more expensive. Like, how stupid can you be? But again, they support it, and again, like, this is the other reason why I don't feel sorry for most of these people, because again, there comes a point to where you've warned them once, you've warned them twice, you've warned them a million times, it seems, and yet they still believe the same garbage they believe. Like, again, I don't have sympathy for these people. The ones that actually do get it, yeah, I do have sympathy for them, but most of them don't. Again, but the main reason it really bothers me is because it affects me and, other people around me, and not to mention too, it's stupid. It shouldn't be going on. So anyway, I wanted to make a video about this because it's a pretty important topic. So anyway, if you like the video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, mainly, but also BitChute and Parler. All those links are in the description, so you can find them all there.